Salutations, fellow nerds. I'm Rick Y, and today is January 30th, 2026. This date will no doubt be remembered in the future as 3 million or so new Epstein documents have been released. Instead of expecting people to read them for themselves, I have taken the solemn duty to read them aloud, here and now, for you. I am almost positive this video will be demonetized and buried, so if you find it important that the information is released, share it on all platforms that you find necessary. Before we begin, I need to give a clear warning to viewers and especially listeners. The material I am about to read contains explicit descriptions and deeply disturbing allegations. Listener and viewer discretion is strongly advised. What you are about to hear comes from publicly released criminal complaints and court filings. These are allegations, not findings of guilt, and no person should be presumed guilty outside of a court of law. That said, it is important to understand the scale of what has been released. These complaints represent only a small fraction of the millions of pages of material made public. The purpose of reading these documents is not to sensationalize them, but to present what exists on public record so it can be examined, understood, and scrutinized appropriately. Just in this small pocket alone, Donald Trump's name appears a staggeringly gross 47 occasions. If this content may be distressing or triggering for you, I strongly encourage you to step away. Please take care of yourself above all else. This is your time to step aside. Let's get into it. Complaint number 1. Redacted reported an unidentified female friend who was forced to perform oral sex on President Trump approximately 35 years ago in New Jersey. The friend told Alexis that she was approximately 13 to 14 years old when this occurred, and the friend allegedly bit President Trump while performing oral sex. The friend was allegedly hit in the face after she laughed about President Trump, and the friend said that she was also abused by Epstein. Complaint number 2. Redacted reported she has a friend, Redacted, who was a personal assistant to Epstein in Florida from 1986 until 1991 or 1992. This friend shared names of some of the guests at Epstein's parties to include Bill Clinton and Donald Trump. Complaint number 3. At age 16, while modeling, caller attended 8 parties at Epstein's New York residence. On one occasion, caller reported she was sexually assaulted by Epstein. On another occasion, 2 twin brothers, Alan and Orrin, lured caller and her friend upstairs, but they escaped back downstairs. Caller stated Orrin raped her best friend, and third brother Tal raped a 14-year-old girl named Redacted. Caller named other individuals involved in, quote, big orgy parties with her, other young girls, and older Victoria's Secret models, including Bill Clinton and Donald Trump. Online complainant reported that she was a victim and a witness to sex trafficking ring at the Trump golf course in Rancho Palos Verdes, California between 1995 and 1996. Complainant reported Ghislaine Maxwell as the madam and broker for sex parties, clients of whom included Epstein, Robert Leach, and Donald Trump. Complainant reported participating in orgies and that some girls went missing, rumored to have been murdered and buried at the facility. Complainant reported being threatened by Trump's then head of security that if she ever talked of what went on there or who she saw, he would, quote, end up as fertilizer for the back 9 holes like the other cunts, end quote. Complaint number 4. Complainant claims to have video of high-profile sex parties, dealings with cartels, and having witnessed Robin Leach strangle a young girl to death at a party. Complaint number 5. Claims he was contacted by a female victim of Epstein's who wants to publish a book. Complainant provided background for himself, such as working with prominent figures such as Leslie Wexner and Epstein, being pardoned by a U.S. president, among several other pieces of information. The victim reportedly knew about criminal activity that occurred in multiple states and on airplanes and told complainant there were films of prominent men such as Epstein, Bill Clinton, and Donald Trump, and that Ghislaine Maxwell is in the videos as well. Complaint number 6. Complainant reported meeting a Lisa Villanueva at a hospital where they were roommates in 2000, who now goes by Ghislaine Lisa Villanueva. Complainant was invited by Villanueva to a party on Palm Beach Island, Florida, to a residence she believes to have belonged to Epstein. There she met a model scout named Bobby Cox, whom Villanueva allegedly referred to as a pimp. Complainant stated Villanueva spoke with a hostess at the residence whom complainant believed to be Ghislaine Maxwell. While at this party, complainant stated that they all had been invited by Donald Trump to a party at Mar-a-Lago. Complainant told Villanueva she wanted to go to that party and was allegedly told by Villanueva that it was for prostitutes. Complaint number 7. When complainant was 14 years old, Ghislaine Maxwell allegedly approached her about modeling, international travel, and massages. Complainant never reached out to Maxwell because the offer sounded as if it was mostly based around modeling, which complainant was unable to do because of a redacted. Complaint number 8. Complainant reported his ex-girlfriends, redacted, were victims of Epstein's and one was murdered. While working as a limousine driver, complainant recalled picking up Donald Trump in 1995 to take him to Dallas-Fort Worth Airport. During that ride, complainant recalled some of the things Trump spoke about on his cell phone were very concerning and described being a, quote, few seconds from pulling the limousine over on the median and within a few seconds of pulling him out of the car and hurting him due to some of the things he was saying, end quote. Complainant noted Trump repeatedly stated the name Jeffrey while on the phone. One of the complainant's ex-girlfriends, redacted, told complainant Trump raped her, as did Epstein. Complaint number 9. Caller is talking about crimes committed against her. She claims to be a prisoner. She references Lisa Marie Presley, the British royal family, President Trump, and Jeffrey Epstein. Complaint number 10. Complainant reported her neighbor sought modeling gigs at the Trump Modeling Agency in New York City between the years of 1998 and 2000. Complainant reported neighbor allegedly went on cruises set up by a recruiter or head of the agency and once showed complainant a photo of the recruiter whom complainant recalled looking like Epstein. Complainant reported neighbor was allegedly raped several times during this period. Complaint number 11. Caller provided information to reference prior civil case from 13 years ago that involved Trump and mentioned Jeffrey Epstein with a minor. Complaint number 12. Complainant following up after a call with NYPD officer regarding her previous tip reporting that she was forced to perform sex acts when she was 13 years old and pregnant in 1984. Complainant also reported there were high-profile individuals involved in her sex trafficking and the murder and disposal of her newborn daughter. Complainant reported Donald Trump participated regularly in paying money to force her to perform sex acts with him and alleged Trump was present when her uncle murdered her newborn child. Complaint number 13. Caller was taken by a boat to Epstein's Island. Caller said it was complicated and involved Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. Caller became a school counselor and had a meeting with the school principal, Linda Kitts, and a police officer where the caller was informed there were pictures of herself with Epstein. Caller reported the school was mad at her for not being a Trump person and that the school wanted her to testify and say things against Andrew Cuomo. The FBI and Donald Trump were on the phone during the meeting. Caller believes FBI has baby pictures of her with Epstein. Complaint number 14. Caller reported that in 1987, a friend, Victim 1, was out drinking and ended up at Trump Plaza. Victim 1 saw Donald Trump and wanted to meet him. An unknown man approached her and offered to introduce her to Trump. The unknown man gave victim 1 a drink, and victim 1 woke up naked and sore with $300 on the bed. Victim 1 didn't remember how she got to the room. She remembered seeing, quote, a flash of Trump's face. Victim 1 called the caller and told her she thought she had been raped. Victim 1 did not go to a hospital to have a grape kit performed because she didn't think anyone would believe her, especially because she was drunk. Victim 1's husband's business had problems with suppliers, and Victim 1 believed Trump was behind it. Victim 1 also started dating a lawyer, identifiers unknown, who was married. Victim 1 had a fight with her lawyer boyfriend and went to a bar. Victim 1 left the bar with a man who no one in the bar recognized, but who seemed familiar with Victim 1. Victim 1 was never seen again. A few years ago, remains were discovered that matched the description of what Victim 1 was wearing when she went missing. DNA tests at the time were inconclusive. In 2004 and 2005, Sir Ivan Vilzig hosted a party where Jeffrey Epstein, Sammy Sosa, and Donald Trump were in attendance. Patti LaBelle's PR agent stood at the door. At the party, caller met an individual who was approximately 18 to 23 years of age who was brought from Oklahoma for a modeling job but then sold to a man in France. Several women were being auctioned, and a man possibly known as Colette LNU was a madame. A couple of years later, caller saw Colette at the Cheetah Club in New York, New York, and she told one of Santos' friends that Jamie Foxx was interested in spending the night with her and that he could pay her a lot of money. Complaint 16. Jesus Christ. Donald Trump, the president, had parties at Mar-a-Lago called, quote, calendar girls. Jeffrey Epstein would bring the children in, and Donald Trump would auction them off. He measured the children. I am not going to read this part because it is actually that bad. ... The guests were elder men and included Elon Musk, Don Jr., Trump, Ivanka Trump, and Eric Trump were there. Attorney Alan Dershowitz was also there with attorney Bob Shapiro. We were taken in rooms, forced to give oral sex to Donald J. Trump, forced to allow them to penetrate us. I was 13 years old when Donald J. Trump raped me. Ghislaine Maxwell was also present. So that's where I have to stop today. I need to take a mental break given the level of detail and the explicit nature of the allegations. I want to apologize sincerely for the lack of discretion in the material you just heard, but journalism at its core requires transparent truth and not comfortable omissions. Sanitizing this would be misleading, and I'm not going to do that. Folks, if even one of these allegations is true, we're not talking about a minor offender or a political controversy. We are talking about a criminal supervillain, the likes of which we have not seen in generations. And to those who are enraged by the messenger instead of the message, I implore you to redirect that anger where it actually belongs. I did not create any of this. I did not embellish it. This material comes directly from publicly released documents produced by Trump's own Department of Justice, and only after they chose to remove what they saw and deemed damning. I think that fact alone should tell you everything that you need to know. Anyways, don't be a stranger, and if you need to unload in the comment section, by all means, feel free. That's part of why I leave them open. And y'all come back now. You hear?